My Lords, and despite the very kind words of my noble friend, the senior Lord Moynihan, and indeed the warm words of the noble Lord Goddard, I understand that we have to be careful in declaring our interests, so I declare myself a season holder of the Club World Champions of the world, which I've been attending since 1958, a time when many noble lords were not even alive.
True.
My Lords, as we enter the what we might call the final minutes of extra time of this bill, it would certainly be churlish of me not to repeat the words of my noble friend Lord Maud about the noble minister's very careful and kind attention throughout this bill and the improvements that have been made as this bill has come back from the Commons. But my Lords, I feel that somebody has to stand up and say that there is an opinion that can be heard in this House that a regulator is a really bad idea for this industry, for this sector. And in saying that, my Lords, I accept that it was our side, scoring, as you might say, an own goal, who started all of this. And I hope and wish that if ever we come to power again, we have leaders who do not say, there go the people, I must follow them, but rather think rather longer term about not how football fans respond to artfully constructed opinion polls, but how football fans will react to the depredations that this regulator, however well-intended, however good, and everybody from all sides has applauded the selection of this regulator, whatever they are, they will make this sector worse, possibly very badly. Why, my Lords, did we have this regulator? Because, as the noble Baroness Taylor mentioned, Bolton Football Club took some risks and went bust and got relegated. Have they disappeared, my Lords? Is Bolton Football Club no longer? Is it now vanished? Oh, no, actually, it's still around. And for those who are not massively enamoured of or conversant with the world of business, and it appears that most of the government cabinet is involved of those who is composed of those who've never been involved in business, it may come as a surprise to know that this is how business works. You take risks, and sometimes you go bust, and then you get reformed, as Bolton Football Club did, and you carry on with the same fans, with the same ground. You're in a lower division, but now you can fight back and get re-elected to higher divisions.
Time is late, so I don't want to go through the whole history of Bolton Wanderers, but his facts were actually not quite correct there. I think what we are concentrating on here is that all clubs should have a better business approach to football, not just rely on wealthy local individuals, but people who come along and just buy up a club. We need proper fit and proper persons tests. That's the kind of progress we're going to be making. We need to make sure that all through the pyramid there is a better business approach to football, and I think that that's what the new regulator will help to create.
I thank the noble Baroness. It's a pity that we're discussing football, not chess, and maybe the clock could have been stopped to give me the time I would need in view of that lengthy interruption. But she's made my point. The noble Baroness has made my point, excuse me. In life, one takes risks, and the fact that we have the best football in the world, in this country, is because enormous risks were taken in setting up the Premier League, and it has been enormously successful. The noble Baroness was basically saying, we know best. We know best, and to impose our view of how it should be, the non-commercial view, we will have a regulator. And by the way, when we have the regulator, we will impose all sorts of little baubles on the Christmas tree, as we discussed earlier in these debates. And for example, EDI, We will impose EDI on all football clubs. Just as that pernicious doctrine is fading away, we're going to impose it. Now, God bless, the Labour Party won an election and has the right to impose these bills. I'm merely warning as to what will happen. I wrote to the noble Baroness, the Minister, and she very kindly and at length responded that the Labour government pray and aid often the McKinsey studies on how EDI is a jolly good thing and leads to better organisations. And I wrote to her pointing out that the McKinsey work has been completely discredited. And she kindly wrote back to me saying, yes, I agree, the McKinsey work has been discredited. But there are many other studies that have not been discredited and that show that EDI is a jolly good thing. So I called up one of the most senior people at McKinsey and I said, your studies have all been discredited, haven't they? He said, yes. I said, well, people are saying that there are many other studies that support the EDI idea. He said, there aren't any. We've looked for them. They aren't there. And the noble minister did not give me examples. She may have examples, but she didn't give me any examples in a letter of anything but the utterly discredited McKinsey idea of EDI. But that's just one example of the kind of baubles that have been put on this Christmas tree that will make things work worse in our industry. My lords, it is indeed, as the noble Baroness said late, and I'll try to wrap up. But we do not know best. The market knows best. The market has produced one of the most extraordinarily successful industries that we have in this country. We're going to try and take the market away. We're going to try and impose on it all sorts of rules. My lords, I am here just to put down a marker.
Can I just point out to the noble lord, when he lauds the market, that an important part of the impetus for this bill was that a number of Premier League clubs were going to exercise market forces to break away and destroy the Premier League.
The noble Lord Panic is absolutely correct. And what happened? What happened? Within a few days, all of that went away. They had a look, and it went away. And as I mentioned before, I wrote an article on the very day the idea came out, as did many other people, saying this is not going to work. And the clubs involved looked at that and said, yeah, this is true, it's not going to work. Now, the noble lord talked about Wimbledon. Now, we're now saying in this bill that clubs cannot move, right? There can be no dynamism. And yet I quoted a study in the debate last night that said that when we restrict, when we clamp down, when we prevent things happening, that is when societies disintegrate. And we cannot expect to have success if we say, oh, we know best, and we're going to stop this, that, and the other, and impose that, this, and the other. I'm just putting a warning down, my lords. One of these days, I think somebody's going to be in a position to say, this was an extraordinarily bad idea.